it was not easy because when I come here, I had nothing. I know I don't have nobody here to support me. I just come myself and then start to find a way.
Way ho, my name is Rosie and I live in Brussels. I'm making this podcast for VUB. For a long time, I've been wondering, why can't all genders be treated equally? Why is mental health such a hot topic today? And what can arts do to specific people and communities? These and thousands of other questions have been wading through my mind. Through education and research for their project The World Needs You, VUB, Vrije Universiteit Brussel, makes the world a better place. And that's why I get the chance to talk to engaged youngsters, professors, and scientists that know just a little bit more about the topic than I do. This is Rebels with a Cause. In this episode, I've learned something that seems so obvious to me now, but I'd never realized before. It's about the effect of sports on reducing poverty. Being poor can cause stress, and being stressed, as many of your listeners probably already have experienced, affects your body completely. It triggers specific processes in your brain that decrease the quality of your decisions. But if you do sports, your brain works differently and makes your decisions actually better and more profound. How crazy is that? Obviously, practicing sports and staying in shape is important for your health, both mentally and physically. However, as a student, you probably don't always prioritize working out. But don't worry, sports are valued very highly at VUB and you'll find sports facilities and activities everywhere on campus. No excuses. For this episode, I'm having a chat with Abdullah Sediqi, who is literally the embodiment of the positive impact of sports. Abdullah is a refugee from Afghanistan and foremost an amazing Taekwondo athlete. 7 years ago, he had to flee from Afghanistan because it was getting too dangerous for him to practice his sport in his own country. After 3 long months, he arrived at the Arrival Center for Refugees, Petit Château, or in other words, Vetasiel in Brussels. He was all by himself, without any money or specific plan. For Abdullah, this place is especially close to his heart, as this was his first home in Belgium. Abdullah is 24 years old, just like me, and he's a very cool, positive and easygoing guy. He's currently a valuable part of the Olympic refugee team and is training for the Olympics in Paris in 2024. Although his English isn't great, we got along pretty well. Abdullah and I meet at the courtyard of Vetasiel. Vetasiel looks a bit like a castle from the outside, but the atmosphere on the inside was completely different. As we moved around, we were followed by the curious eyes of many people staying there. I guess they don't often see an audio and camera team within the walls of Petit Château. Little did they know Abdullah was in the exact same situation as them a couple of years ago. After a good sip of our damping coffee mugs, we started talking about his inspiring journey and his passion, Taekwondo. Keep listening to get to know him better.
My name is Abdullah Sediqi, a refugee athlete, and now an Olympian.
An Olympian, wow, okay. But you're also practicing for the Olympics right now, right?
Yes, I'm preparing for next Olympics.
2024?
Yes.
Okay, so Taekwondo is the passion of your life?
Yes.
It has always been your passion, or when did you become aware of that passion?
I started Taekwondo when I was a child, so I was always dreaming about one day I go to Olympics.
And now it became reality. Could you maybe tell me a bit more about Taekwondo, the sport itself, because I don't really know much about it.
Taekwondo is a martial arts sport. It's about 80% working with the legs and 20% with the hand. So it's a complete sport. It's a really competitive sport.
Is there many women in Taekwondo as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We can say it's 50% of Taekwondo's women.
Okay.
Yeah, many women they do.
Can you maybe teach me one move?
Yeah, of course. Maybe later or now.
Now? Can we do it now?
Most of the girls, they are really like playing really sneaky.
Okay.
Like with the legs.
Women, always the same.
Yeah. And then they have a style, but I don't know how but I can teach you just one things that girls do.
Okay.
Always the girls are like this. Yeah. No, not with the hand, with the leg.
Only with the legs.
Just do, yeah.
Okay.
One, two, like 1, 2, like this.
Is this good?
Yeah.
And then they kick the shoulders, or what did they do?
No, they kick the head.
Okay.
Yeah, they kick.
And
the head.
do you wear protection?
Yes, we have protection, but they sometimes they kick here.
Can you kick here?
Maybe yes. I want to propose.
Yeah. Okay, that's impressive. Wow, thank you. I will show this to my housemates tonight.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay, you inspired me. I will maybe do a lesson of Taekwondo in the future.
Yeah, of course. Many girls do this.
Yeah, I did kickboxing actually.
It's also nice, but it's many girls I see they come Taekwondo.
Yeah, I have to defend myself, in the streets.
Yeah.
For the record, Abdullah's kick next to my ear was quite impressive. VUB is the coordinator for Unistar, a project aimed at developing a number of tools to support staff members and give them the necessary knowledge and skills in their work with refugee students. This helps refugee students to finish their studies here in the best way possible. That's awesome. I also had a call with sports scientist Marc Theeboom. He teaches different sport-related topics at VUB. He told me everything about the positive effects of sports and how it can curb the effects of poverty. Let's listen to what his research is all about.
Well, we do a lot of research over the years, actually, on the impact of sports. What sport can mean to different, you might say, societal challenges. If people think about sport, they often think about health enhancement, physical activities, it's good for health. But they often seem to ignore the fact that sport has a lot of potential, bringing about a lot of changes to people, to communities, and we investigate this.
So that it's more than just the physical advantages that sport can offer.
Yes, we do believe that sport has a lot of potential. That's why we have a research group called Sport and Society, where we think the link with social challenges that people are facing in today's world faces a lot of challenges. And to what extent sport can have, you might say, a minimal impact, at least have an impact on these challenges. And that's what we investigate. And this is a term which is called sport for development. So what sport can do. And for example, we link this to a number of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, where we think that sport indeed has an opportunity to contribute.
So there's a research group, Sports and Society at VUB, but there are also a lot of sports-related courses you can follow. You can even combine your studies with top-level sports. The sky is the limit at VUB. Let's get back to Abdullah. I was curious to know how he stays in shape as a top athlete. Do you also have a specific diet for it, or what do you eat?
Of course.
What do you eat then?
Like a normal athlete, they eat, but I'm good with my weight category, so I don't need to really diet. But I eat like a healthy food.
Okay, you burn a lot of. I mean, you have a fast digestion.
Yeah.
That's nice. I don't. I have to watch my food. I also wanted to ask about about the refugee team. What is different about it? Like, why is there a different team for the Olympics?
Because refugee athletes has no nationality from no countries, so they make a refugee team for the players can go to Olympics. Who can do it like we was in the level of Olympics, but we couldn't because I had no
Belgian
nationality. And then they make one team, and then from the one team, it's like a one country, but it's a refugee team.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can do one straight for future.
I can do one.
Yes. For you, one and a half minutes.
Yeah. Hey, I can do 2 minutes, maybe.
But you have to have a good conditioning, because when the referee
I go to the gym.
The referee goes, Shijak, it means start, and then you don't
and then
stay.
it's...
When you get the kick, your conditioning comes slow, like you see some games or when they hit, so it's like this. When you
your
get
body
the kick,
is tense like the whole time, right?
Yeah, and you have to have a good conditioning, then you can manage 3 rounds.
I go to the gym,
It's good.
But it's a start.
It's good.
I'm gonna see. Next to the canal, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Although I go to the gym, Abdullah still won our little fight. When I talked with Marc, I was interested in what he thought about the concept of a separate Olympic refugee team.
Well, I think it's amazing that they do this kind of thing. I strongly support this because you might say there's a very thick glass ceiling of getting into regular sports competitions, and especially for people with a very specific background. So you have to give them an opportunity to be part of this and to show what they can do. So I would say, some people say it's not fair, it's positive discrimination, it's bringing people at a level that they should not be there, they should follow the same rules as everybody. We must be honest that not everybody gets the same opportunities. And I totally support these type of initiatives, absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but your research is focusing on martial arts?
On martial arts as well. First of all, it attracts a lot of young people in a very diverse way. We see that there's negative public image of some of the martial arts, that people are that these martial arts like boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing, you might say the harder martial arts, that we should not let people do that, bring them into this type of activities because they will induce, it promotes violence, aggression. Mm-hmm. Now, again, if you don't provide football practice in the right way, you will also promote aggression, no matter what. So it is all a matter of how you bring this, how you provide, how you organize this. But it's no use saying, okay, some of these people like boxing. Okay, sorry guys, sorry girls, we're not going to boxing. But we suggest that you go for, let's say, for soccer or handball. No, that wouldn't work. You have to take the initial interest in a sport activity and work from there. And that helps. So we've done a lot of work in boxing clubs and other harder martial art clubs, also in Brussels, where we see that there's a lot of... Yeah. And it's not only boys, by the way. It's also a lot of girls who are interested. And we try to combat the public image that is behind this whole idea that boxing or harder martial arts will make people more aggressive.
The work Marc is talking about also involves a project, the Brussels Martial Arts Living Lab. Together with Brussels boxing clubs, VUB inspires organizations to teach youngsters the meaning of respect and the importance of networking and taking your chances through martial arts. I must admit, it was a more difficult theme to talk about, but I had to ask Abdullah what it was like to arrive here in Belgium all by himself. We're sitting here at the arrival center for Belgian refugees. You just told me you were a refugee, or how does it feel for you to be here?
Yeah, it's about 6-7 years ago I was here in the same center, and I was living here and I continued my training as well. So when I came again, and I was thinking all about the last and from where I came. So.
Yeah. So was the reason was to come to Belgium was to pursue your Taekwondo career? Or
actually, yes, because I had some problems in my country. I was also national team there. I got some medals there, but there was so many things that I cannot go to competition, and then I choose to come to Belgium, and then from here I start again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you describe your journey from arriving here until winning your first medal?
It was not easy. Mm-hmm. It was really not easy to become a refugee athlete, to become a refugee and do high performance as like Olympic World Championship. It was not easy, because when I come here I had nothing. I know I don't have nobody here to support me. I just come myself and then start to find a way, and then I start from one club. And
so your family stayed?
Yeah, my family is there in Afghanistan. Okay. So just I come alone here, mm-hmm. and then I start myself.
Did the center offer you opportunities to go to training, or how did you find your way? Or were there other initiatives in Brussels that gave you those trainings?
I think, no, just because I knew people from Taekwondo from before, from the past. So when I arrived here, I take a contact with some people, and then they gave me the others of one club, and I went there. So I just start, and then from the club they support me.
You told me that you had nothing, you had no one, and you experienced poverty in a way. How does it feel for you now to be surrounded by poverty? You made a life for yourself, but there's people that are still struggling. How do you feel about that?
I feel that like what I want, I got it till now. What I was dreaming about it, I'm in the way, and now I'm so near for my goals. So I feel proud for myself, because when you come from the other country and you start from zero, there's many ways to go. But it depends on you, what you want and what you're dreaming and how you believe in yourself. So I was believing in myself, and then I just continue. I didn't know about nothing to how I go to competition, how I can get a medal. No, just I say this is my way. I just continue. We'll see, and then I see the result.
Yeah. Do you think having that purpose for you, it's Taekwondo? Do you think you need a purpose to manage and to live your life?
Actually, Taekwondo is part of my life. So because my aim goal was Taekwondo, and then I go with Taekwondo, but other people can also choose maybe studying, maybe other life.
Some purpose.
Yeah.
I respect his positivity and determination a lot. He even told me positive memories of his 3-month journey as a refugee, which puts so much in perspective for me. Abdullah believed in himself, and he made his dream of going to the Olympics come true. If that isn't the motivation to follow your dreams yourself, then I don't know what is. I wondered if it happens a lot that sports get someone out of poverty. Like, how exactly does that happen? This is what Marc told me.
Well, on a personal level, it can get you into some kind of educational trajectory, developmental trajectory. One of the organizations have used a slogan and say, we provide things that you should have learned at school but didn't. So we provide another setting, a context in which people can grow and develop. On the institutional level, you cannot expect that only the work should be done on the person. So it is a double-sided strategy that has to set in place.
You briefly mentioned how institutions use sports also as sort of as an excuse in their policies to say, to just invest in programs and say like, okay, now we fixed poverty. Could you elaborate on that more?
Well, if you see a lot of statements that are being made on the high level, like United Nations, if you go to their websites and you see like there was even an office, now it's gone, but what I've heard that they will try to reinstall it. It was an office on sport for development and peace. So these people say, okay, through sport we can achieve world peace. Now that's a high achievement. How are we going to do that, you know? And they say, okay, but sport is such a wonderful thing, and we see we see a lot of success stories of this one girl or one guy coming from slum areas and then making it all the way to the top.
Like Abdullah Sediqi from our. Do you have one small message to Abdullah?
I should encourage him to make use of his status, to encourage other young people that they can see up to him as a role model, because this is what young people need. They need to see role models, and it helps to see people who think, oh, I could have been there, and that is important. But what I want to say is these success stories need to be make more concrete. What has turned this person into a success story? Why is this a success story? And can everybody turn into this success story? We've come across other people that have said, okay, look at me. I was nothing, and now I'm running this operation. I have this program. I'm a street footballer. I've met him a few months ago in a Dutch prison, by the way, and I said, okay, hold on. You want to be a role model, but you just mentioned that you're super talented in street football. How will you be a role model for those young guys and girls that are not super talented? Will they be able to achieve the same thing as you did? Because he is now under contract of all kinds of different firms and different brands. I mean, this is where you have to think. A role model for what?
Yeah.
And how can you achieve this?
Being proud of any achievement, I think. Yeah. As little as it is.
Yes, are on different levels. So what a lot of these organizations do, by the way, that might be interesting to mention as well here, is the first thing they do, because some of these organizations work with martial arts or others work with like football, for example. The first thing they do is what they call manage expectations. Because all these people that come in, they say, oh, we will become a professional boxer or we will become a professional football player. Hold on. The programs that we offer will not be able to do that because you are now, let's say, in your early 20s or 18 or 19. You should have started at age 5 or 6 if you want to be in a professional team. But we can provide you other successes. We can give you other skills which will bring you further in life. So the managing expectations is crucially important. And this is what all young players want to be, football players want to be, Messi, Ronaldo, any kind of thing. But we should not just say, okay, just go for it and you will reach and the sky is the limit, you can do it. This is not fair to a lot of young people.
This is such a powerful and crucial message, not only for sports, but for life. Manage your expectations. Define what success means to you and watch how you grow through mini goals. Celebrate your small achievements just as much as the big ones. You're allowed to be proud, even though you don't feel the best in your opinion. I think we can consider Abdullah a role model, even though he's being very humble about it. He encourages everyone to go for your dreams, no matter how big or small they are. For him, his biggest dream is to win a medal at the Olympics. I was curious if he had other goals besides the Olympics.
All people want like a good car, house, apartment, good life.
Family, maybe.
Yeah, family, of course. Family is the first. So I aim to have a good life for future, and I think from with Taekwondo I can do this.
Because it's a profession you can't do your whole life. You told me your body also feels it sometimes, some dislocated body parts. What do you want to do after?
I think when I stop, I just want to help some people, other people, for maybe to open the club, gym,
Sure.
and other sports. Maybe they can come to train, and then maybe some other work also. Yeah. Some small business start.
Yes, why not? Entrepreneur. What are you working on right now? Like, how does your week look like?
Actually, I'm working now. About 4 months, I start working. Before I was not working, just only Taekwondo training. But like we thought about this, I need to think about my future as well. So I working in the one company, and then when I finish with my work, and I go just training.
You go to training.
And, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you still go back to Afghanistan to your family, or not?
No.
And are they coming here sometimes?
No, I didn't see my family about 6 years. How
do you feel about that?
Of course, when we're talking about the family, it's a little difficult because 6-7 years you didn't see family.
Yeah.
And when you have a family support, you are more stronger. I have a family support, but from far away, so it's a little bit difficult.
But you can call, video call.
Yes, I can just call and then talk.
Yeah. And are they doing well?
Yeah. My mother, people maybe know, my mother, she died in COVID-19.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. About 2 years. So she was always behind me. She always pushed me to go. I'm here from my mother, because my mother supported me a lot. So yeah, now my brother, my sister, yeah, they also support, but my aim was mother.
Yes. She's proud of you. Yeah. What do you hope for the future? Like to wrap up.
I want to be a top 4 in Olympics. So I thinking about this, and then because it's in 2 years I have Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have some other plans maybe.
Okay.
I will do it.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve it. And thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Cheers. This was Rebels with a Cause, a podcast from VUB. You can find all episodes on your favorite podcast channel or on YouTube. This podcast is part of the framework The World Needs You. All information can be found on vub.be/podcasts. Go check it out. My name is Rosanne Koetsier, and this podcast is a co-production by VUB and Chase.